We say thank you when life gives us something good, a gift, a blessing. But what happens when life gives us nothing? When our hands are empty and our hearts feel forgotten, most people become angry, bitter, blind to beauty. But there is another way, a way that turns emptiness into miracles. Is it just a nice thought, or can it truly change your life? Let's explore this through a story that might just change how you see everything. In a remote mountain village, where the wind carried tales of hardship, lived an old woman named Amira. She lived alone in a tiny, weathered hut, with a small garden that was often more dirt than vegetables. To her neighbors, her life looked bleak, a constant struggle against poverty. They would whisper, shaking their heads, "Poor Amira, she has so little." But Amira saw things differently. Every morning, she would step outside, take a deep breath of the crisp mountain air, and say, "Thank you for this beautiful day." She'd listen to the birds singing and smile, "Thank you for this lovely music." As she walked through the village, feeling the strength in her old legs, she'd whisper, "Thank you for letting me walk." Even when she looked at her basket, holding just a few vegetables and a small piece of bread, she would hold it close and say with genuine warmth, "Thank you for this abundance. I have everything I need." Her neighbors couldn't understand it. How could she be thankful for so little? But for Amira, her life wasn't about what she lacked, it was about what she had. She saw beauty in the sunrise, companionship in the chirping birds, and wealth in her ability to move and breathe. Her heart was full, even when her pantry was not. One chilly autumn morning, the air bit with the promise of a harsh winter. Amira took her basket and went into the forest, hoping to find some late-season berries or mushrooms. She walked for hours, her hopeful eyes scanning the forest floor. But the ground was bare. The trees seemed to hold their breath, offering nothing. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, but her basket remained completely, utterly empty. Anyone else would have felt despair. The cold was setting in, and an empty basket meant an emptier stomach. But Amira, standing in the fading light, looked down at her basket. A soft smile touched her lips. She held it up, as if presenting it to the forest itself, and whispered into the quiet air, "Thank you, empty basket." Why? Because an empty basket meant she wasn't rushing home. It meant she had more time to be in the forest she loved, to watch the last rays of sunlight filter through the trees. Her gratitude wasn't for what was in the basket, but for the experience itself. This simple, profound act of thanks was about to set a miracle in motion. Just as she whispered her thanks, she heard a faint groan nearby. Following the sound, she found a man slumped against a tree. He was pale, shivering, and his eyes were filled with desperation. He was a hunter, he explained, who had gotten lost days ago. He was starving and had lost all hope. If Amira's basket had been full, she would have been home long ago, warmed by her fire. But because it was empty, she was still there. She was there to find him. She immediately built a small fire, its flames pushing back the encroaching darkness. She took out her last piece of bread, the one she had saved for her own dinner, and gave it to him without a second thought. As he ate, she shared the warmth of her fire and, more importantly, the warmth of her spirit. She told him of a hidden path, a shortcut that would lead him safely out of the forest and back to the main road. The man was stunned. Here was a poor old woman, with nothing but the clothes on her back and a single piece of bread, showing him immense kindness. "Why are you helping me?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "And how can you be so calm, so happy, with nothing?" Amira simply smiled. "I am not with nothing," she said gently. "I have the warmth of this fire, the beauty of these stars, and the joy of helping a new friend. My basket was empty so that I could be here for you." It seems it was waiting for a different kind of gift today. The man was, in fact, a wealthy merchant from a bustling city. A week earlier, his caravan had crashed in the mountains, and he had lost everything: his goods, his fortune, his men. Left with nothing, he saw only cruelty and emptiness in the world. He had become bitter, convinced that life was a series of losses. But Amira's simple, unwavering gratitude for an empty basket completely shattered his worldview. He saw that true wealth wasn't in what you owned, but in how you perceived what you had. Her kindness, born from a place of perceived lack, was the richest gift he had ever received. He followed her directions and found his way back to civilization. But he never forgot the old woman in the mountains. He returned not just with gifts, but with a changed heart. He rebuilt her hut, hired gardeners to create a lush, thriving garden filled with fruits and vegetables, and ensured she would never be cold or hungry again. But his greatest gift was yet to come. Touched by her story of being alone, he used his resources to search for her family. And one day, he arrived at her doorstep not with a basket of goods, but with a woman whose eyes were filled with tears of recognition. It was Amira's daughter, who had been lost to her for many, many years. The reunion was the miracle Amira had never even dared to ask for. Her empty basket hadn't just saved a man's life, it had filled the emptiness in her own. This story teaches us something profound. Gratitude isn't a reward for a good life. Gratitude is what makes life good. Amira didn't wait for her basket to be full to be thankful. She was thankful for the basket itself, even when it was empty, and in doing so, she created space. Emptiness, when met with gratitude, becomes an opening for new gifts, new opportunities, and even miracles. So, when you feel like your own basket is empty, whether it's your wallet, your heart, or your hopes, try whispering a thank you. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the opportunity to see things differently. You might be surprised to find that your empty basket isn't a sign of lack, but an invitation for life to fill it with something more wonderful than you could have ever imagined. Gratitude turns what we have into enough, and more. It transforms denial into acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger into a friend. So, does gratitude work? Yes, it works not by magically filling your basket, but by changing you. It allows you to see the gifts that are already there and to become the kind of person who is ready to receive the ones that are on their way. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. What are you grateful for today, even if it feels small? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.